What's up everybody on YouTube, AJ Rez back here with another video, and today we're going to be discussing the potential of Avengers Secret Wars, different theories, plot details, and things that will happen, and why it has to be a peak movie for Marvel. Now this video is being recorded around 4 weeks before Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium releases in theaters, and we know that Kang is going to be the main villain of that movie, a version of him. We obviously saw a variant version of Kang, who was He Who Remains in Loki Season 1, and we're going to be seeing him in a few episodes of Loki Season 2 later this summer, but I believe even beyond the release of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, this video will still be relevant because we're going to talk about what potential theories could happen in this movie. Another character, another powerful villain that you've seen in the thumbnail of this video is Dr. Doom, and now it's not 100% likely that he'll be included in Secret Wars in Phase 6. We do know that in the 2015 issue of Secret Wars that he is the main villain in that, God Emperor Doom, and also in the 1980s Secret Wars he has a role in that with the Beyonders. So we'll see what happens with him and Kang, if they're going to potentially team up, or if Dr. Doom will end up outing Kang. With all that being said though, let's go on and get into the video. Alright, so before getting into any potential plot details or things of that nature, the first point I want to make is that I think Avengers Secret Wars should be delayed until 2027. Right now the current release date for Secret Wars is May 1st, 2026, and we know that Kang Dynasty is going to come out a year before in 2025. Initially both films were supposed to come out in 2025, which is insane to me because right now it's 2023. Secret Wars is slated to come out 3 years from now, and that's so different from what we saw, you know, with the Infinity Saga. There's been a lot of rushed projects. I mean, Phase 4, everyone knows that that was the most controversial phase, you can say, of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Some great projects we saw, like I said, Loki, that was one of the best ones, WandaVision. But there was also projects that people didn't like, stuff like Thor Love and Thunder, and there was a lot of anticipation for Multiverse of Madness, you know, seeing the multiverse and things of that nature, because this is the multiverse saga, but that was even underwhelming to a lot of people as well. I just feel like Phase 5 and Phase 6, they're really crucial to the potential of Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, because, I mean, it's a lot riding on that. A lot of people thought that basically the MCU was dead after Endgame, people saying that they weren't going to watch it and all that. A lot of ridiculous statements, because everyone thought that after Thanos no one could be as incredible as him or as legendary or have as much of an impact, but honestly we're only seeing this, barely scratching the surface of what the potential of the Marvel Cinematic Universe can be. But anyways, the reason why I say that Avengers Secret Wars needs to be delayed is because you want to have quality over quantity. We know that there's so many projects being released, obviously on Disney Plus and in the films, but that really doesn't matter if it's just a lot of, you know, different CGI blow-ups and just low quality looking things. We could see the imperfections in there, a lot of rush plot details. You don't want that. You want great stories. That's what originally what Marvel had, you know, in the early MCU with Phase 1, stories like Iron Man, Captain America. You look at one of the best Marvel films period even now, Captain America Winter Soldier, top tier. Infinity War was great. Of course Endgame was a great movie as well. Civil War was one of my favorites, but you want to get back to that quality. You don't want to rush things and make movies like Captain Marvel, no disrespect, even though that wasn't Phase 4, but you don't want to make movies like, even we could talk about Moon Knight. I mean, that show was okay. I feel like that show was kind of nerfed, and Moon Knight was kind of nerfed in different ways. But I mean, you want the highest quality and peak quality of things. Now there's going to be different avenues. Of course, you have different people like Miss Marvel having shows, She-Hulk having shows. I mean, a lot of different and more diverse projects being made, but at the same time you don't want things to be rushed. So if you want to delay that, if you need to delay that, that's what needs to happen, because you want to have a peak project. I know in Hollywood it's about making money, but at the same time you want the fans to be enjoyed and enamored and constantly come back. And if you're having these constant mixed views, like with films like The Eternals, which I think it wasn't that bad, but that has a lot of mixed reviews as well, you want to have the best quality. So I think that Avengers Secret Wars, this is arguably Marvel's best storyline, and it does not need to be rushed. Now before talking about Secret Wars and everything like that, we have to talk about the Avengers Kang Dynasty, because of course Kang is slated to be the MCU big bad, essentially the Thanos of this saga, but there are a lot of reasons why Kang is way more powerful and way more of a powerful presence than Thanos ever was. First and foremost, for those who have seen Loki Season 1, and if you haven't, here's a spoiler warning. But anyways, for those who have seen Loki Season 1, we know that Kang's accessibility to technology is beyond Thanos, as we saw in Season 1 that the variant version of Kang, who was He Who Remains, he collected Infinity Stones, which obviously was a peak of Thanos. That's what he needed to have those stones to power up and be the most powerful being in the MCU, in the 616 MCU. But Kang had plenty of those in the TVA because he controlled the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, and he deemed them useless, and they were essentially the size of paperweights.
What? Infinity Stones? How do you have these?
Oh, we actually got a lot of those. Yeah, some of the guys use them as paperweights.
Not only Kang being born in the 30th century makes him more technologically advanced and has more accessibility to higher technology, he's also known as the master of time because he can recreate timelines, rewrite timelines in reality, and he has conquered numerous timelines, defeating multiple versions of the Avengers. Like we saw in the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer, he's defeated different Avengers before.
You've made a big mistake. I'm an Avenger.
You're an Avenger. Have I killed you before?
What?
And I really hate to make these direct comparisons to Thanos because we're talking about the future. We're ultimately talking about Secret Wars right now. But people need to know how powerful of a being that Kang is, because as seen in Loki, he was essentially the reason that Thanos achieved what he did, because he wrote the sacred timeline.
I ended the multiversal war. Once I isolated our timeline, all I have to do is manage the flow of time and prevent any further branches. Hence, the TVA. Hence, the timekeepers in a highly efficient bureaucracy. Hence, ages and ages of cosmic harmony. Hence, you're welcome.
Like I said earlier, Kang is a time traveler, so he has an array of different equipment and technology that really gives him the upper hand against Marvel superheroes. If you saw in Loki Season 1, Episode 6, when Loki and Sylvie initially tried to kill him in the Citadel, when they were trying to find answers, essentially, when they tried to kill him, he was basically using this like time-twisting tech that just basically let him dodge them from getting any hits.
No, just a little bit easier to kill.
Come on.
There's also been rumors and reports that the Avengers Kang Dynasty is going to be told in the perspective of the main MCU heroes from the 616 universe. So, you know, heroes like, of course, Ant-Man. We're going to see what happens to him in Quantumania. But, of course, people like Ant-Man, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, you know, the main MCU people that we see. And then in Secret Wars is going to be from the perspective of multiverse heroes. So potentially people like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, some of the X-Men, including Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and different people like that. There could be a potential for a lot of different cameos and people from Marvel Legacy movies that weren't necessarily in MCU. If I had to take a guess at what the plot might be about, I'd say that they'll take, you know, inspiration from the 1980s issue and also from the 2015 issues in different aspects. There's been rumors that Kang might be revealed as a version of the Beyonder, which would be, you know, I don't know, that'll be controversial to some people. It could be cool in a way, but it could be a version of him being as a Beyonder, you know, having the ultimate power. Also a version of him, you know, controlling the Darkhold that we see with Wanda, you know, that she ended up having in Multiverse of Madness, which really corrupted her. I think that the Kang Dynasty will deal with a huge cliffhanger. I think that we'll see that the Avengers will end up winning. A lot of people think that this is going to be similar to Infinity War in terms of, you know, Thanos winning, but I think that we're going to see Kang lose. But like I said before, there's infinite variants of him, so I think that we're going to see Kang lose, but we might see like a potential post-credit scene or two, seeing, you know, different versions of Kang. The Council of Kangs, which I mentioned in my previous videos, there's Council of Kangs end up coming and popping up, and we might see a version, might see Doctor Doom introduced in Agatha Covenant of Chaos, which is probably going to release in 2025. She's dealing with, you know, dark magic, and we know that Doctor Doom, he's a sorcerer as well and deals with magic. We could see a version of him, well, not just a version of him, but him in general be revealed in a post-credit scene, or even in Agatha Covenant of Chaos as a younger version be revealed, and we could see the footsteps of him coming into Secret Wars, because I think you can't make Secret Wars without including Doctor Doom. I know that it's soon, and like I said, that's why it needs to be delayed until 2027, so we have, you know, a lot of character development in these different areas and for things to be set up. But I think if you have Doctor Doom in there and Kang team up against the Avengers, I mean, how are you going to beat them? But that's the point of it. That's why you want the movie to be so iconic. If you have Doctor Doom and Kang together, though, there will be a reckoning and butting of heads, because at the end of the day, they both want similar things, and only one can win. Only the strongest can can survive. If you have Doctor Doom come in after being maybe like in a project or two, and after seeing multiple versions of Kang in different projects, seeing him dominate essentially the MCU and the multiverse, you have Doctor Doom basically just eliminate him with ease. It'll really be a slap in the face to not only Marvel fans, but just the Avengers, of course, in the movies, because I mean, he went through all of that, creating the sacred timeline, rewriting things about Thanos just to see it barely matter and see Doctor Doom come in and be the ultimate hierarchy, which I don't think is going to happen. Like I said, Kang is going to be that level. You can argue in the comics that they both have a similar amount of power and an equal level of power, but I think that in Secret Wars, you're going to see maybe Doctor Doom play a role at the end, but you may see more of him in Phase 7 and Phase 8, which is going to probably revolve around mutants more. Now, before ending the video, there's a few things I want to talk about. Of course, Incursions, which essentially is the reason why Secret Wars is happening, and also Battleworld. So in Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness, Reed Richards kind of explained what an incursion is.
Stephen, your arrival here confuses and destabilizes reality. The larger the footprint you leave behind, the greater the risk of an incursion.
Incursion?
An incursion occurs when the boundary between two universes erodes, destroying one or both entirely.
That's what basically causes the groundwork for Secret Wars and for these different variants and different versions of these heroes, Marvel heroes, to go off against each other because they're fighting for their own Earth. And in the Ultimate Universe and the Ultimate Comics, they essentially end up colliding and these heroes end up coexisting with one another. So we could see something like that end up happening at the end of Secret Wars, but I'm not entirely sure. That's essentially what the synopsis of an incursion is in the MCU, but when talking about Battleworld, there's multiple different angles that Battleworld has taken. So we'll talk about the 1980 storyline of Secret Wars first. So Battleworld, it was basically a planet constructed by the Beyonder, who used pieces taken from hundreds of worlds, including Earth, to create an arena for his Secret Wars. In the 1980 storyline, that basically included different heroes and villains, such as, you know, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and X-Men fighting against different villains such as Kang, Galactus, Doctor Doom. But Doctor Doom ended up taking the Beyonder's powers in this storyline. That's talking about the 1980s versions of Battleworld, but talking about the 2015 issue with God Emperor Doom, who was the main villain of the 2015 Secret Wars, Battleworld was basically made from the remnants of destroyed realities following the multiverse's collapse during the Incursions. In that 2015 issue, Doctor Doom also ended up stealing the power of the Beyonder, and like I said before, the Beyonder has been rumored to be a version of Kang, so maybe that's how we see Doctor Doom sneak up in there and be the ultimate boss for Avengers Secret Wars. But regardless of the situation, I don't know how things will end at the end of the movie, because like I said, Doctor Doom, that he'll still be fresh into the MCU. Like I said, I think that Secret Wars should be delayed in 2027, but even then Doctor Doom will still be new. So I think that you still have to build a lot around him, even beyond Phase 6, going to Phase 7, Phase 8, the next saga. But yeah, that's pretty much my perspective of Avengers Secret Wars, what it could be. Like I said, if Doctor Doom and Kang end up becoming allies, and then we see that Kang is a Beyonder and Doctor Doom take him over, I think that could be a really cool movie. But at the end of the day, like I said, it shouldn't be rushed. It should be a great process of making the film. If you need to delay it, Marvel, delay it. We want peak Marvel, because in the comic, Secret Wars is basically the most iconic storyline, like I said before, and we need this movie to be iconic. It's more iconic than the Infinity Gauntlet comic, which we saw basically adapted into the Infinity War, into Endgame. So we need this movie to be great, and if you have to take your time with it, Marvel, do that, because we want an amazing story. It is a few years before this movie comes out, but it's never too early to talk about it, because there's theories and different things and different projects that we'll see that will end up shaping the MCU into the future. So it's not too early to talk about it. So let me know in the comments down below some of your theories for Secret Wars, for Kang Dynasty, and where you think the MCU is headed forward. I appreciate y'all watching. Always make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at SwaggyRuss, and also on TikTok at SwaggyRuss02 for cooking content, shorts and reels, and more things like that. Stay tuned for more videos on MCU, on pop culture, lifestyle, and sports. And yeah, this is going to be a great year, 2023. I appreciate y'all. Always be blessed and love y'all.